Good morning, everyone. This is the Pondering Infinity webcast. Today is February 28th, 2022. This is episode 11. So as more people are listening to the webcast, I'm getting more and more feedback and critique, and I really appreciate it. One of the things that Angela did say was that she generally skips over or tunes out when I do the market stuff. When I first approached I had spoken before of getting a show on another network when I was big in the conspiracy theories. When I first started discussing that with the person, I suggested I might be a little too controversial for their audience. And I guess as it turns out that it's true. So what I was trying to get at is that my last episode 10, spoke of echo chambers and idea labs. And when I approached this conspiracy theory group, they're really involved with Q and a whole gamut of conspiracy theories. They're in an echo chamber, and it's a lot of circle speak and coming in with opposing viewpoints. Like it's almost like this clip, Gary Nolan clip. Hang on.
Why is it wrong to ask questions about this area? What's wrong with asking the question? Frankly, you're the person who's wrong for trying to stop these questions. You're the person who's almost acting like a cultist. Mm-hmm. You basically have closed your mind to what the possibilities are.
So it's a type of a cult, and depending on how deep you go and how deep down the rabbit holes you go, you can it could be innocuous, or you could go off the deep end. And when you hear opinions or theories that contradict, that don't give you your confirmation bias, you label them and brand them, and in the scientific community you retract their paper. So I was on the one show, and so I messaged them, thanks for letting me come on and express my views. And up until that point, they were still talking about giving me a show on there. But it's been radio silence for a week now. I was on the show last Monday, and I haven't heard back about coming back on or getting a show. And I was afraid I would be too controversial, because when you go into these things and into these groups that have these strong beliefs, no matter what it is, science or conspiracy theories or wherever, and you go in and start critically thinking, it can be scary for a lot of people, including scientists, and that's what I'm going to do today. So I wanted to talk a little more about the conspiracy theories and what's going on, touch on it a little bit. So a lot of these conspiracy theorists, believe in Q and believe in Trump, and Trump is coming back, or Trump was supposed to have been back already. There's a lot of things that were supposed to have happened by now. Back last year when I was deeply involved in it, it was always, it's coming up. It's the, March, whatever, the inauguration, the real inauguration, and then, April, and then June, and then July 4th, and on and on and on. It was always, well, it didn't go because of this, or these people have to get this in place. It's always tomorrow. It's always tomorrow. And, part of the reason I just got tired of hearing everybody say that it's tomorrow. It's, they always speak of intel. And so what something I was fond of saying was, excuses are not intel. If you have actual intel to share, then share it. If you don't have anything and you're just saying, Iraq is doing this, or Putin's doing this, or whoever, China's doing this, and that's an excuse for whatever you are wanting to happening. The election was stolen. Not saying it's not plausible. I'm saying it's whatever happened has to happened in reality, and it doesn't necessarily matter of the beliefs, the underlying beliefs behind it. So you have to just go with the flow and live your life. So when you present opposing theories that ask people to stop and look around and critically think and say, does this make sense, or how plausible is that? They get offended and upset and lash out and call you things that have no basis in any logic. And it's emotional. It's the primitive brain versus the primitive mind versus the high mind. It's the echo chamber versus the idea lab. So to tie that back in. Putin invaded Ukraine, and now they're talking about nuclear missiles. And 18 months ago, or however long it was when Trump was in office, we were energy independent. These are just objective. I'm not trying to make this political or play into these conspiracy theories, but this is objective. Inflation was low. The stock market, the financial markets were doing great. We were energy independent. There was the Abraham Accords, peace in the Middle East. No wars. The economy was booming. All the countries seemed to get along, despite whatever you thought the Trump-Russia connection was, or whatever. The bottom line is it was peaceful around the world. Energy independence. Seemed like we were moving in the right direction. Unemployment was low. Seemed like everybody was, in general, happy with their lives. Now, you may hate Trump. You may hate what he stands for. I don't mean that, but objectively, your life. Could you not say it was better than no COVID, no mask restrictions, none of this nonsense? So objectively better when 18 months ago when Trump was in office. What happened since then? The elections, and these conspiracy theorists are positing that, Trump is finally going to be, he's going to be back in 2024. He just announced it at CPAC. So he's coming back. We're not overturning the elections from a year and a half ago. We're not, elections are going to be different. And it's all part of the slow change that goes on. So these views I wanted to go on this show and talk about, and we talked a little bit about logical things, but they asked me about Truth Social, I guess, and it was I said I honestly don't even know what it is. Well, it's Trump's social media platform that he's rolling out, and the things are there. I don't know what the backstory is, but people are trying to sign up but can't get signed up, and they're given a number, and they're making it like every day. They're making it a deal. Have anybody been able to get into Truth Social? What's the point? If there's 100,000 people waiting to get in there, why move on with your life? So I didn't know anything about that, and we started talking about other things, and I wanted to come back and talk to the Flat Earth guy and just ask questions about that. So whatever's going on, it's happening in reality. So come out and experience reality. Oh, let's see the new decorations. Oh, this might be a good segue. So I put up Batman, I got Perry, and up in the front here, I got the Big Bang Theory. I don't know if you can see them, bobbleheads of the Big Bang Theory. A couple of Batman things. But today, the theme for my podcast turned into, basically I'm gonna trash Neil deGrasse Tyson in honor of science. I saw at the store locally here in Atlanta, we got Coca-Cola in Atlanta. Coke came out, I heard this on the radio, they came out with Starlight Coke. Starlight Coke. It's supposed to taste like space. So, whatever space tastes like. Limited edition. Space flavored. 0-calorie cola, space flavored. One of the other suggestions Angela said was, don't wear my glasses. So, don't wear glasses, so you're going to have to put up with my bad vision if I can't see this. Space flavored. So I'm going to enjoy a little, for the first time, space flavored in my Princess Bride cup. It's reddish. Try it without the ice. Ugh. Somebody said it, I heard on the radio, I think they said it tasted like s'mores or graham cracker. Is that what space tastes like? Ice doesn't make it better. Ugh. It's got an aftertaste that, ugh. So in further honor of my science doesn't give a fuck what you believe, Morgan got me, I think I said Morgan got me that cup. And I used to think the emphasis was on, science doesn't give a fuck what you believe because science is objective. But it evolved into science doesn't give a fuck what you believe. It's whatever they believe that matters. So whatever science believes, it's science, so you have to trust it. So I have a couple of clips. I was driving home today. I wanted to get, hang on. So driving home this morning, or when I got home, I guess my TikTok showed up or popped up when I was, one of the videos that came up, I don't know if I got an email on it, or it was Neil deGrasse Tyson. Neil deGrasse Tyson, it's one of the clips that I'm going to play from him. But I have, so I went back and looked at a bunch of his videos on TikTok. So they're short videos, and then there's a little bit longer one at the end from his. So apparently he has a podcast called Star Talk, and he gets to think deeply on the wonders of the universe, and then make jokes or try to make jokes. But here is Neil deGrasse Tyson. And
like so many other Americans, I speak only one language, English. Yeah, I'm embarrassed by that. But actually, I know a couple of computer languages. So that makes me multilingual. But beneath all of that is something else going on. As a scientist, I care about probing the operations of nature and knowing what is or is not true in this world. That's why science is true whether or not you believe in it. We all speak the language of objective truth.
The language of objective truth. Once again, I point to my science doesn't give a fuck what you believe mug. The objective truth as defined by science. So in and of itself, it seems like that's circular logic. So he speaks only English, a couple of computer languages, but he also speaks bullshit language. He's fluent in it. So the next clip is the speed of gravity.
One of you wants to know what is the speed of gravity. Our best understanding of that tells us that gravity moves at the speed of light. The cosmic speed limit. It's not just a good idea. It's the law. And to be specific, gravity moving at that speed, that's a change in gravity. So if something happens, something warps, something gets readjusted, it sends a ripple through the fabric of space and time, and that ripple moves at the speed of light, as prescribed by Einstein's general theory of relativity. So, we got that one.
So the best we understand it, it moves at the speed of light. I saw another video of his that he came onto a basketball court and he wanted to drop some science on these guys, and he spun the basketball backwards. Like he flipped it backwards and it hit the ground, and obviously it bounced back. So he said, Newton's second law, conservation of energy or motion, I think it says, for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. So this ball is spinning, you spin the ball backwards and it hits the ground and bounces back, but nothing bounced forward. And he goes on to say, well, this basketball has a low mass and a high velocity, and it's spinning one direction. When it hits the earth, it actually causes the earth to spin in the opposite direction. But the earth is so big, and we're spinning so, I guess, we're moving so slowly, but we're moving very quickly in a rotation, that, he says we're moving so slowly that you don't even know that it moved. But the basketball moved because of the difference in masses. That seems like a scientific explanation. They can't even explain what gravity is. Because if you think about centrifugal force, what's holding us in? This is the discussion with the flat earth guys, I guess. But so if we're spinning around at 1,000 miles an hour or something like that, water off a spinning ball, it flies off. Now, you can argue the core and something's keeping us in it. But according to Neil, gravity moves at the speed of light. So just keep that in mind with this next clip.
What about FTL travel? And is that achievable? You're showing off FTL travel. Let me assume you mean faster than light travel. We don't know how to do that. And it's not a matter of engineering. We have very well understood and tested laws of physics that say you can never accelerate any physical object to the speed of light. So you have to cheat. And so the way to cheat is you warp space in some way that the actual distance is not what you end up traversing. You take a little shortcut that you open up, possibly via a wormhole. All right? And so there are ways we've figured to bypass that speed limit. But the technology that requires is millennia away from anything I'm telling you now.
Millennia away, the technology to bend space-time, create a wormhole. Earlier and it said laws of physics say we will never exceed the speed of light. So if science is settled on will never exceed the speed of light, why are people still trying to do it? These technologies are millennia away. Why are you even talking about it? What contribution? I think he's the quintessential level 0 scientist. He's the most well-known, maybe besides Bill Nye, but Bill Nye in general doesn't talk this nonsense to this extent. I mean, this is orders of magnitude idiocy above anybody with any common sense, except that he's a scientist, and scientists have science on their side. But the conspiracy theorists, or the religious, I mean, that's an even bigger controversy. You start, Jesus turned water into wine. Oh, stop it. That's not possible. But, well, neither is faster than light travel. But you're still saying we can get there, we can do it. So, it just doesn't make any sense. This other one, this next one coming up is... all right, hang on your seat. Scariest fact I know. Hang on.
I gotta ask, what's the scariest fact I know? It's that in 22 billion years, there's a chance that the accelerated expansion of the universe will become so severe that it will separate stars from galaxies as they move beyond our visual horizon and continue in this, ending up separating atoms from their molecules, and then particles from their atoms, and then the very fabric of space and time itself, the pixels out of which our 3- and 4-dimensional universe is constructed, they will separate. But if that is the base unit of all that exists in this universe, it can't separate. And all it can do is rip. I lose sleep over that possibility. We started with the Big Bang, we may just end with the Big Rip.
I can't even believe, this guy is either an egomaniac or is so desperate to get the approval of other people, or he's a complete idiot. If he's losing sleep over the Big Rip that may happen 22 billion with a B, billion years from now, that there's a chance, it doesn't say how big of a chance, so there's a probability that the fabric of time will rip apart and end infinity as we know it. And he's losing sleep. Or, he's an idiot, or he's so desperate for people to like him and or show off what he knows or what he thinks he knows. I mean, is he a PhD? I don't even know if he's a PhD. So I had to go look it up. So I've got this Neil deGrasse Tyson Wikipedia. So one of the other scientists that Lex interviewed says Wikipedia could be a good source to begin your journey down the investigation. So Neil deGrasse Tyson is an American astrophysicist, planetary scientist, author, and science communicator. So apparently he is a PhD. He got his bachelor's at Harvard, master's at UT Austin, and then PhD at Columbia. So I just lost a lot of respect for Columbia. This guy, this is ridiculous what he's trying to pull off here. So it's his YouTube page or his Wikipedia page, but This is ridiculous. So this other clip I have is... Okay, so this final clip, that last clip was what is the scariest. I thought it was interesting. It said the scariest fact.
I gotta ask, what's the scariest fact I know?
Scariest fact I know. So, how is any of what he said a fact? If it's 22 billion years, there's a chance, and that's a fact. So, if that's the scariest thing he knows, it calls into question everything he's ever said, including this next clip, which is a prelude to a video that he discussed 8 years ago on his Star Talk.
Did any of you see that Netflix film called Don't Look Up? This fictional tale of an asteroid that's coming, and the astrophysicist warns society, and no one believes them? Everything I know about social media, politics, how people interact with science, and all the deniers out there, everything I know about that tells me that movie was instead a documentary.
Science deniers, the astrophysicist that warns the world and nobody pays attention. I think he's referring, I don't know how recent that was, but I assume he's referring to Apophis, which I've been talking about since I started the podcast. So Apophis is supposed to hit or come within 20,000 miles, I think it was 20,000 miles of Earth, inside the low Earth communication satellite orbit, within 20,000 miles in 2029, and I think it's supposed to be 2068 or 2058 that if it threads this keyhole, it's going to hit. How come nobody's talking about this? He's alluding to it, that he's the astrophysicist. Like, it's like a documentary made about him. Is that, maybe that's what he is, an egomaniac. He is an egomaniacal, narcissistic idiot. Netflix made a documentary about an astrophysicist that is screaming the sky is falling when everybody else is silent, and he's the only one out there saying anything about it, and the scientific, but he's losing sleep over something that may happen 22 billion years from now. Why is anybody still listening to this guy? So this next clip is a video clip from his podcast, Star Talk, where he's talking about Apophis. And, you just got to listen to this to believe this.
I've heard you talk about Apophis. Now, we just talked about smaller asteroids.
House-sized asteroids.
House-sized asteroids hitting the atmosphere, some if they are metal.
Oh, by the way, I don't mean like Bill Gates-sized houses. They're like regular people
Houses.
Yeah.
Right. But they would, some would break up, some being more bound tightly, or being more tightly bound would continue on.
Yes.
Now, with that in mind, how big would an asteroid like Apophis be? And since these house-sized asteroids would not wipe out Earth, what would be an extinction level event?
Ooh. Apophis, we know how big Apophis is.
Oh, we do.
So it's not how big Apophis would be, it's how big is it. It's about 300 meters across, and if you sort of measure that out with a corresponding sizes of structures, it's about the size of the fully open Rose Bowl. in
Wow.
Pasadena. So the field plus all the seats, that would plunk nicely into that like an egg sits in an egg cup. Yeah. So that would, if that hits, it would, the most likely place it would hit would be the Pacific Ocean, and it would raise a 50-foot tsunami that would wipe clean the west coast of North America. Have a nice day. Yes, okay. But no one has to die because we would predict when this happens. We would know it. This is the good thing about the laws of physics. You can predict the future.
Nice.
Right, in ways that protect your life, extend your life expectancy.
Well, we can't say no one would die because there would be at least a handful of surfers who would say,
Stupid surfers.
dude, I gotta do it.
Stupid surfers and stupid cameramen, no, stupid weathermen, right, who are trying to get the camera guy too close to the surf.
Exactly.
Two dead people in that. So you clear out the west coast and then you watch it happen, and it could be quite a spectacle. So that's not extinction level either. It's just very damaging. It would do $1 trillion worth of damage. We know the size of an asteroid that would do very bad things, and it's about 1 kilometer across, a little more than a half a mile across. That size asteroid would disrupt civilization.
Gotcha.
No, it won't leave us extinct, but it could take out, it could disrupt the food chain, the transportation channels, things that we rely on for modern living.
Apocalypse.
Yes, so we would need to rebuild what our modern culture of human life on Earth would be.
And that would be about 1 kilometer.
About 1 kilometer across, right. And you get to 10 kilometers, then you've got, at 10 kilometer size, you've got extinction level asteroid.
And how big would the asteroid have been for the dinosaurs?
Dinosaur was about the size of Mount Everest. Yeah, so that's about 10 kilometers.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, oh yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah, now that's much smaller than Earth. And in the old days, we thought it would just leave a crater, and you were just unlucky enough to be where the crater hit.
Right.
Then, but we learned that the stuff it thrusts into the atmosphere blocks the sun, cloaks the Earth, knocks out the base of the food chain because photosynthesis can't unfold,
Right.
and a wave of extinction percolates across the tree of life.
There you go, people. Have a nice day. That's beautiful. Sleep well. Sleep well.
Sophie, those smell delicious. Bluehost makes.
Okay. So, Apophis, let's recap what egomaniacal narcissist said. So, Apophis is only 300 meters wide. So, it's only the open Rose Bowl. And it'll only hit in the Pacific Ocean. And don't worry, it'll only cause a 50-foot tsunami onto the West Coast. But not only the West Coast, what about Japan, the Pacific Ocean the other direction? You going west, there, Hawaii is gone. The other country, but it's only a 50-foot tsunami. And it'll only cause $1 trillion. What's our current deficit? 28 trillion. So it's going to cause 1/28 the damage, wiping out the entire west coast of the country. But they can laugh that it's only going to be 2 dead people: the surfer and the cameraman who gets stuck in the riptide of the 50-foot tsunami. That's not going to do anything else. But we don't have to worry, because the true disruption to civilization would be the 1 kilometer asteroid. We'd have to rebuild everything we know. It's 50-foot tsunami hitting the West Coast isn't going to do much damage at all. He's probably right. But the beauty of science and physics is they can predict the future. So this won't happen. What good is predicting the future if you're not going to process that information throughout humanity and spread the word, or what are we working on, or what are we doing? Elon's trying to go to Mars within the next 10 years. Is this the great escape plan of science? Is Elon's going to take the select few people that he can and colonize Mars? colonize Mars, and everybody else is screwed. And then he says then the extinction level asteroid would wipe everything out, but the disruption would cause the mushroom cloud and block out the sun and stop photosynthesis. And we learned all this stuff. How exactly did you learn all this, Neil? Dr. Tyson? Where did you learn about the asteroid that made the dinosaurs extinct? Or where did you learn about all this stuff? And if you learned it, and Apophis is coming, you said it yourself. And that clip was 8 years ago. That was a Star Talk from 8 years ago that he was talking about it, and not a peep since. No one's talking about it. So either it's not real, or science makes, they're covering something up. I mean, is that the Gary Nolan clip?
So the number of scientists who know that there's something else going on is much larger than the scientific community would like to think.
The number of scientists that think something's going on is much larger than the scientific community, but much larger than the world thinks, because we think you guys are scientists are really working on something for the future. So Neil had another clip I saw on his TikTok thing. I didn't download it. It said, so I found that clip, the TikTok video. So I'm gonna bring that over here. Play that.
We know what heroes do. They'll save your cat in the tree. They'll pull a child out of a well. They might even save your life and the life of others. We know who they are because stories are written about them. Statues are erected. Movies are produced. Poems are composed. But what happens if we now think about laboratory researchers and scientists who developed a vaccine for COVID in record time? When all this has passed, they will have saved the lives of millions of people. Yet no one will know their names. To me, no, they're not heroes. They're superheroes. We finally have a genuine application of that term in our own society.
So level 3 science are heroes, are everyday superheroes. Level 2, the researchers, the ones that develop the vaccines, today are superheroes, yes. Level 1 and level 0 scientists, level 0 like you, Neil, in your previous video, I think you were describing yourself almost like a superhero. Physics, the laws of physics are going to save the world. I mean, you have an opportunity to save hundreds of millions of people's lives, with Apophis, with warnings, with serious discussions with other scientists. And none of that's happening. And it's almost like, so the I think I said in another, Apophis had like a 1 in 520,000 chance of hitting the Earth. I think that's what they said. Something crazy like that. The Powerball is like 1 in 290 million. So we have a much, much, much greater chance of getting hit. Apophis hitting the Earth, and nobody's talking about it whatsoever, and we're joking about it. And 8 years ago, Neil was joking about it. It's almost like, the Avengers come down and they say, oh, Thanos wiping out half of humanity isn't, or half of the creatures in the universe isn't the issue. It's 22 billion years from now, we could have the big rip, and the Avengers saying, don't worry about Thanos. It's no big deal. It's not a big deal. He's not a big deal. He's not real. We can talk about something over here. What's it going to take to bring this to light and have somebody have serious discussions? Either scientists come out and talk about it, or somebody please get this to Neil deGrasse Tyson. Start making these scientists justify what they're spewing, the hokum, as Sheldon would say, the hokum that they're spewing. We need to get out ahead of this, and these are the type of thinking outside. I hate that phrase, thinking outside the box, thinking unconventionally, that now got me in trouble, or not got me in trouble, but is keeping me away from sharing my theories with the conspiracy theorists, and trying to get people to think critically across the board. And science is no different. We need to think the same way across the board uniformly, and hold everybody accountable for their beliefs, whether it's the Big Bang or reptilian politicians, or any other conspiracy theory, Q or Trump, or however far and deep you want to go. Think critically, and get out of the echo chamber and get into an idea lab, and detach yourselves from your opinion, or what you believe, and your thoughts or your ideas, and that's not you or you. Detach yourself from it. Have open discussions, and be open to the possibility that something could change your mind, and it could be for the better. Because you don't have the beliefs that you have now if something didn't change your mind in the past. So you're willing to open up your mind just a little bit, whether it's science, whether it's conspiracy theories, whether it's any belief that you have. Open up your mind a little bit to an alternative theory, and test it for yourself and see if it holds water in your reality. Because, whatever conspiracy theory you believe, Michael Jackson's still, Tupac's still alive, or flat Earth, or science, the Big Bang, or I'm going to throw religion out there because I'm not saying conspiracy theories disparagingly. Everything is a conspiracy theory, as I went over before. It's a theory that people share a belief to uphold in. So, Christians are conspiring on the same belief system, and that's okay. Muslims are doing the same. Scientists are doing the same. All the conspiracy, all the conspiracy theorists are doing the same thing. So it's the number of people that hold those beliefs is what's in question. When you get, people, millions of people believing in science, and no one testing what they're actually saying against reality, they get a free pass because they got their credentials, right? So, maybe that's why there's a very popular conspiracy theorist that credentialed himself. I don't know if it's legitimate, but he goes around saying he's a doctor, so a PhD or whatever, Dr. Economics. I don't know. Maybe I should do that. Dr. J, going around PhD and I don't know, philosophy or conspiracy theories. Or I'll get my doctorate this weekend. So that was episode 11 of the Pondering Infinity webcast. I hope that was entertaining and you enjoyed it. Until next time, live a good life. Oh, I want to say, please do like, subscribe, and share with anybody. Give me a thumbs up on YouTube if you're watching this on YouTube. I guess since the show on that other network fell through, it's going to be up to me to drive some traffic. So it'll be up to you to drive some traffic. If you find this entertaining, not entertaining noise on the internet, I would really, really appreciate you sharing this, and maybe get an opportunity where I can actually interview scientists or anybody, and have these discussions and have these deep philosophical discussions, maybe even live. That'd be kind of cool. But until then, this has been episode 11. Until episode 12, live a good life.